Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Great Sex Expectations with your friendly kinky neighborhood sex therapist, me, Nikki. So, speaking of expectations, I really want to talk on a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Is expectations of what a kink-aware and poly-friendly therapist is and how to find one. So, what is a kink-aware therapist? And poly-friendly is wrapped up in the kink-aware. So a poly-friendly and kink-aware therapist understands the different populations that fall under kink, BDSM, consensual non-monogamy, queer gender orientation, queer orientation, and they're willing to work with those populations. And they've had some training on it either through ASECT or TCA, and hopefully they're a board certified sex therapist through either of those two organizations. And through TCA, there's the International Institute of Clinical Sexology, which has its own certification course in kink, which is the Kink Certification Training Institute. And the main professor is Dr. Patty Evans, or Dr. Harmony, who's based in Tampa, Florida. I learned majority of what I know either through my own lifestyle choice and experiences and through her program. And in her program, there are 5 pillars of the kink community, which are the ethical non-monogamy, which consists of polyamory, relationship anarchy, swinging, and open relationships. Any configuration that's not heteronormative monogamous falls under that umbrella. You also have the power exchange, which is the BDSM, which is bondage discipline, sadomasochism, master-slave, or it could be dom and submissive, pet and handler, those particular power exchange dynamics. You also have the fetish communities, which can be leather, latex, water sports, shoes, you name it, any type of fetish. Then you have the queer orientation, which is anything, again, that's not heteronormative. So bisexuality, asexuality, anybody that's not heteronormative. Then you also have the queer gender, which is the intersex gender, transgender. And the reason these two are considered under the kink communities, even though they're not, kinky, is because everybody wants to belong to a group. That's one of our drives of human behavior. And the kink communities have embraced these particular groups of transgender and asexuality and queer. They've just kind of been umbrellaed into it. And these individuals may or may not identify with the community. That's just what the program, what we're learning about in that particular program for kink awareness. You can also look on different websites like Poly-Friendly Therapists or Kink Aware Therapists. That's a particular website in and of itself for other therapists in your area. So if a therapist, like on Psychology Today, Good Therapy, they say they're kink aware, it's kind of good for during their free consultation, if you bring up either your relationship dynamic or what your kink is and kind of be vulnerable with them to kind of test the waters to see if they really are kink aware. Because the last thing you want to do is to be educating your therapist or trying to defend your particular orientation to your therapist. That's not what you're there for. That space is supposed to be sacred and it's supposed to be safe and non-judgmental. And also for the therapist to understand, let's say you're into BDSM and you're into impact play, and of course you're going to get bruises, that's part of it. And you're going in and understanding the difference between happy bruises and sad bruises, and to know that BDSM or any of the kink communities, it's not abuse. It's sane, consensual, safe sex, usually with contracts. And the reason why that this is so important, that the therapist says that they're kink aware, and actually means that they're kink aware and they understand that they're going to be working with these populations, is to have situations, not to have situations arrive that I've heard of where a client will call the therapist and say, hey, you know, one of my partners just died and we're in this type of power exchange relationship where I'm the sub, he's the dom, and then I have a sister wife, or I have a, you know, brother husband. And not to have the therapist go, no, you're crazy, you guys are sick, and then hang up. That actually does more harm than good when that happens, because then that starts a whole other pathologizing somebody's lifestyle choices, and that whole negative stigmas of I'm not good enough or I'm bad starts to set in, and that defeats the whole ethical purpose of do no harm for us as therapists. And also to understand that it's not considered pathologizing if it doesn't create disorder in somebody's life. If there's no disorder or dysfunction, then there's no pathology based on it. It's a choice, and it's to work with these choices for the individual's life and what they want to do. And my own personal story with trying to teach a professional about, well, particularly about my religion, it was kind of like, so is this person going to think that I'm schizophrenic? Is she going to think that, you know, this is a pathology that lies with my religion? And it's really not. And it's the same thing with like sexual orientation and kink. You know, is this person going to think that, you know, I'm crazy because I like someone to pee on me, or because I like to be tied up? Which there's actually a lot of, there's some studies that show that suspension is really good for a meditative state, or tying knots is good for a meditative state. And then having to teach the therapist about your particular kinks can get a little tiresome. However, that's not saying that a kink-aware therapist is going to know every single kink that's out there. Because if you can think of it, there's a kink for it. And everybody's kink is a little different in how they work with it. But a kink-aware therapist needs to have that general overview of what a fetish is, what the power exchange is, what a non-monogamous relationship looks like, and how it can be healthy, and how it's unhealthy. And if addiction is playing into this, or if some other shreds of codependency are playing in on it, that's what the kink-aware therapist needs to know, is the whole overview of it. And maybe the kink-aware therapist is in the lifestyle, and maybe they're not. I was in the lifestyle several years ago. I chose to get out of it for different reasons, and I'm kind of like on the fringe of the community now, because once you're a therapist, it's really hard to go back into that particular community that you live around. It's just that part of the ethics part. So the kink-aware therapist that's in the community is going to be giving up part of their community, because you can't be friends with or have dual relationships with your clients. So that is part of it. So I hope this video was informative, and if you have any questions about where to find a kink therapist, or anything more about what a kink therapist needs to know, or how you should vet a kink therapist, or if you want to become a kink therapist or a kink-aware therapist, please feel free to email me, call me, do comments down below, so that way there's not a whole lot of confusion. And again, I hope this helped you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!
Hey everyone! Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also in the comments below, tell me how you feel about this video and if there's anything you would like to see in future videos. Check out my social media pages on Facebook and Twitter, and then my professional website, therapistnicki.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.